Windows Server 2019 System Administration. Welcome back everybody. I'm Prakash Pradhan, your trainer for this entire series. In this season or in this series, we are going to talk about deploying your browser using your group policy. Normally in any organization, whenever we install operating system that might be deployed via your WDS, and the next important work that we need to do, the most common work is that to install your browser. Might be most probably most commonly used browser is your Google Chrome only. So you might be in need of installing the Google Chrome in every computer in your network environment. So in order to save your time, we are going to learn now today in this session how to deploy the Google Chrome via group policy, so that you don't have to go from one PC to the next PC just to install your this Google Chrome. Okay, now for that, the first thing that we need to do is that you will have to download a Google Chrome. Okay, now for your easiness, that means in order to save your time, I have already downloaded Google Chrome in this PC, in the domain control, I mean to say that. So if I take you to over here in C drive, there is a Chrome, see, browser I have already downloaded. Okay, and don't forget, whenever you want to deploy, if you have seen my previous video, I think by this time you might have come to know that you should know by this time that whenever we deploy any application, that must have extension as the MSI. So this Google Chrome version is also the extension having the MSI rather than exe here. Okay, now you need to download first Google Chrome. Okay, now I have already downloaded this one. Now the first task that you need to do in order to deploy the Google Chrome via group policy, in order to save your time, or let's say to deploy the Google Chrome in a mass, okay, at the same time. So first you need to download and share that browser to your user. So I'm going to share it. Before this deploy is done, you will have to share it. Okay, now let's go to the permission. I'm giving permission to read for everyone. That's okay, and it's apply. Let's share it. Okay, now we are going to copy this path. Okay, now after that we'll be going to the group policy. Okay, now if I go to the group policy over here in my computer, that means in a domain, let's go to the group policy management. Now when you deploy this via group policy, if you want to deploy your browser or any type of this application, first you need to make sure that in which computer you would like to deploy that policy, because normally the softwares are being deployed in your computers rather than a user group. So that's why I have created one group over here. That means OU, it's a finance. Now if I take you to over here in my users and computers, you'll find that the one computer that is moved to that group, that means that OU. Now I'd like to take it to the finance. So okay, it's not moved, so let's move it from here. This is the one OU on which I'm going to deploy this policy in order to deploy your Google Chrome. Now this Google Chrome I would like to deploy to this OU, but that should be to the computer. So that's why I'm going to move this computer. Okay, I'm going to move it to this OU. Let's say finance. Now it is over here. Now along with the user as well. Now if you like to make sure that the name of this workstation or the name of this client machine is the same name, so let's make it clear host name. See, this is the host name. Now if I take you to the server, in order to just to check this computer name, it's the same thing. Okay, now let's see over here, users and computers. So it's opening. Go to your OU finance. I have moved over here. Now in this computer I am going to deploy Google Chrome. Okay, now so far you see that you might have noticed there is no Google Chrome, so this should be listed over here after we deploy via group policy. So number one, first step, you will have to download the Google Chrome and share that, giving at least the read-only permission. And then I'm going to go to the group policy. Of course, we are going to deploy via group policy. So I'm going to go to the group policy and I'm going to create one new policy for your browser deployment only to that particular group. So let's go to the OU and create and link it over here. Okay, and I'm going to give a name, deploy Chrome for client, any name you want. Now, after that, let's edit it because this is the default one now. I'm going to edit and we are going to deploy to the computer as I already said. Go to the software, see software installation, right click, properties, and that path, default path, you can give it over here. That's why I have copied that one. Okay, it's done. Now next one, you'll have to right click new and package. And don't forget, when you deploy over here, you'll have to give the network path. Okay, network path. Open. Now it's asking you the select deployment method. If you remember in my previous video, so far I remember that it is already explained. That means whenever you deploy any of the application, any of the software to the computer configuration, the publish option will be disabled. Okay, so that has to be assigned. And rest of the things I have already explained in my previous video. If you have missed out, please do so. Go through that. Now it's set, so that application name should be displayed over here. That means your Google Chrome. It's taking time. Wait for a few seconds. It should get listed over here. It's taking time. Wait for a few seconds. Okay, it's listed over here. See, it's assigned. Okay, now that means this group policy is successfully deployed to that particular OU. Now, if I go over here and go to the setting, just to make sure, okay. Now, you see, let's see your deployment over here, group policy. It's showing everything. We don't want to see that. Domain, okay. Scope to the finance, it's okay. It's already deployed. We already know that. Now, what I'm gonna do after this, let's update this once. Don't forget, this Chrome is deployed only to that particular PC, particular your client that is being stored in your particular OU. That means organized. Okay, that is already been linked now. Now, if I go to my client PC in order to make sure that it's been deployed or not, so let's update force once more. We are going to update this group policy. And do not forget, whenever the application is being deployed, no matter even if it is a browser, your workstation, your computer must get restarted. See, it's asking you. Certain computer policies are enabled that can only run during the startup. See, I told you. So now we have to restart this. But also make sure if any of your documents are open over here, you have to save it first. Now it's going to restart and we don't want to wait for a minute. So what we can do, we can restart right away. So it's restarting. So wait for a few seconds. After it gets restarted, you'll notice that Google Chrome is successfully deployed to this client machine. So I'm not going to pause the video because I want you to witness this entire process. It's starting. Let it load the operating system. Then we'll find that this Google Chrome or the browser is successfully deployed. Okay, let it connect once. We'll reconnect it. I'm going to log in using the same username. Okay, it might tell you to restart again sometime. It happens sometime. Normally, no need to be panicked. Did it load the operating system? Might take few more seconds or it might take 1 or 2 minutes because it's installing that application in a background. Okay, it's not small file. I do believe everybody knows that it's not for the 5 to 10 MB, it's more than that. So in order to install that application, it might be taking a time. Otherwise, normally when you restart the client, okay, restart operating system, especially Windows 7, it shouldn't take this much long. That means it's installing that application from the server via group policy. So that's why it's taking big time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video. When it gets restarted, I'm going to restart this video again. Okay, it didn't take more than a minute, I guess. Now the operating system is already restarted, it's rebooted. Now let's try to log in using the same username, and we'll notice that Google Chrome should have been deployed. It should get shortcut even in your desktop. Congratulations, successfully it's been deployed. So if I double click this, that means browser should open. Okay, of course I have not given the public IP range in my operating system, so that's why it's not going to open this one over the cloud. But you can see that your via group policy, your Google Chrome is successfully deployed. So I think it was so easy for you all, and it's going to help you a lot in order to save your time to deploy your browser via group policy. So if you find it fruitful, please do like and subscribe. Thank you.